Hi friends, welcome back. I'm doing Tuesday and Thursday right now. For Tuesday, for social studies, we're reading pages 176 and 177. Answer the questions 1 and 2. So I am on pages 176 and 177. This is called Life Then and Now. Look at the pictures above. There's a baby and what looks like somebody who's not crawling. It looks like they're walking now. Draw a picture of something that you did in the past. So here are 2 examples of things that you did in the past. So just draw what you think right there. I'm going to start reading on page 176. History is the story of the past. It tells about events that happened long ago. Each community and family has its own history. Each person has a history too. You then and now. What were you like in the past? Well, I know in the past, I was a little baby, just like these pictures here. You were very small when you were born. Over time, you grew up and learned to walk and talk. When we talk about the past, we use words like yesterday and then. What can you do today? Well, today I'm making this video, and today I'm also going to cook lunch because I'm getting kind of hungry. You are in school. You can read and write. Our school looks a little bit different right now, but don't worry, friends. It'll get back to normal very soon. When we talk about the present, we use words like today and right now. Tomorrow tells about the future. Circle words that tell about the past. So you're going to go back in this paragraph and circle the words that tell you about the past. Underline words that tell you about the present, also in these 2 paragraphs. And draw a box around the words that tell you about the future. All of those answers are right in this paragraph. I'm moving on to the next page. Families then and now. Events that happened in your family's past are your family's history. You can ask a parent or guardian what life was like when they were young or your age. A family member from a different generation or age group can tell you how life changed or stayed the same over time. So a different generation, even though my grandma is passed away, whenever she was growing up, they did not have cell phones. So that's a little bit different from life then and now. Our communication is so much easier now. Long ago, families needed clothing. We still need clothing today. Food and a home. Still need those all today. Today your families need these things too. However, there are differences between life then and now. Many families once grew their food in gardens. Today, most families buy food at the market. Families long ago played games, but they did not play them on computers. So they still did those things in the past. They just looked a little bit different. Underline 2 things that have changed in family life over time. So, funny story is my Uncle David actually still grows food in gardens, and I think it tastes so much better. All right, that is Tuesday's work. Tuesday is page 176, 177. Thursday's work, I'm going to move my screen a little bit to show you Thursday's work. Thursday's work, we're actually making a family tree. And I've put 2 examples on our weekly academic calendar. If you'd like to use those examples, they'll look a little bit different than mine, but that's okay because everybody's family tree is going to look different. I'm looking for my glue if you think I'm looking like a crazy person. I do have glue sticks, but I don't know if my glue sticks will hold up what I'm about to show you. Aha, here's my glue. I knew it was somewhere. All right, so I'm going to move my camera to show you Thursday's work of a family tree. I did a little bit of prepping so that it won't take me so long to show you what I'm about to show you. Let's see if I can get you sitting down here. Right here. All right. There is my family tree. It looks a little bit empty. I wrote the word family at the top. I drew a tree. A family tree is your family and you and what your history looks like. Let's see if I can balance you up here. I'm sorry, friends. I should have practiced before, but you know Miss Clower. I think it's going to stay. Okay, perfect. So what I'm going to show you on my family tree is I'm going to show you my grandma and grandpa on my dad's side and my grandma and grandpa on my mom's side. So what I did here is I made little leaves that have names on them, and these are my family members. So I did my grandma and my grandpa on my dad's side, Grandma Cecilia, Grandpa Jim. So I'm going to glue them at the very, very top. We always have to start with the past because they are the first generations. So let's see if this glue is going to hold. I used thicker paper because that's what I had at home. Okay, I'm going to put them at the very top. Grandpa Jim and Grandma Cecilia. Put them at the very, very top. Now my grandma and my grandpa had 4 kids, so I'm going to look for their names. They had my dad, whose name is Larry, my Aunt Cindy, she's so nice, my Aunt Sherry, and their other son's name was Keith. So I'm going to put their names right underneath my grandma and grandpa's names. So here I'm going to glue my Uncle Keith right underneath. Oh, that kind of rhymes, that's funny. My Aunt Cindy. My Aunt Sherry. And of course, last but not least, my dad here. So before I move on, I'm going to talk a little bit about my mom's mom and dad. So they're going to be in a different color because I thought it would be cool to just kind of show the difference with a different color. So my grandma's name on my mom's side was Dorothy, and my grandpa's name was Jack, Grandpa Jack. So I'm going to start with the oldest first, my grandma, Dorothy, and my grandpa, Jack, right here, next to her. And believe it or not, there's actually a connection because my grandma and my grandpa on my dad's side had 4 kids, and my grandma and grandpa on my mom's side had 4 kids also. So they had twins, my mom, Judy, and my Aunt Joan that I lived with. They were twins, identical twins. That means they looked the same. And they also had my Uncle David and my Uncle Pat. So I'm going to glue them right below my grandma and my grandpa. I'm going to start with my Uncle David here. My Uncle Pat. My Aunt Joan. And my mom. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab a marker. I'm going to grab a marker, and my mom and my dad obviously had me, Miss Clower. So I'm just going to draw a little arrow. Whoops, that marker does not work very well, but that's okay. And here is me. And for my family tree, like I mentioned in writing, I mentioned that I lived with my Aunt Joan and my Uncle Kenny. I didn't put my Uncle Kenny on here because even though he's in my family tree, he's my uncle, he was married into the family. So my family tree could get really, really crazy if I included all of them. So I chose not to. But since I live with my Aunt Joan, she's very, very important to me. And I think that it's important that I add her kids to my family tree. So my Aunt Joan and my Uncle Kenny had 2 daughters, Katie and Christine. So here's Katie, here's Christine. I'm gonna glue them under my Aunt Joan's name. I'm just gonna draw a little arrow. Here's Katie. And if you watched my writing video, I already talked about them both having children. Well, Katie's about to have kids. Christine already has 2 boys. She has a 17-year-old and a 14-year-old. So whoops, I dropped the lid of my marker. Christine, I'm gonna draw 2 arrows. Oh, I guess I could backtrack and put 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ethan and Ian are gonna go under Christine because those are her 2 kids. So here's Ethan and Ian. And Katie is about to have a baby boy. He's going to be born on July 3rd if he comes out on the day that they think he's gonna come out. And funny story, Ian's birthday is actually July 3rd, so he's hoping it doesn't happen on that day because he doesn't want to share his birthday. That's just a silly story. And Katie's going to name her son that's going to be born in July, Bo. So I'm going to add Bo under Katie's name. So you can add, let me pick up my marker lid. Nope, I don't see it. You can add other people to your family tree because even though this side looks very plain, I didn't want to get too overwhelmed with all the people. But if you'd like to, you can go into more detail because my Aunt Sherry has 2 kids. My Aunt Cindy has 2 kids. And I'm not too sure about my Uncle Keith. I don't know. I'll have to do more research. But of course, my Uncle Pat has 4 kids. And my Uncle David has 1 kid. So I could continue with my family tree, but it's completely up to you how much information you'd like to share about your family, or if you just like to start with you and your siblings. All right, my friends. I hope you enjoyed my activity today.